And there's also no gimmicks. There's no gimmicks. So it's here in 2026. Some people have been here now, right? Some people who have been following me here now have followed me for now at least a half a decade. Just put that into perspective. If you've known of me, if we've been connected, we got some community members that may have been in here for 5 years. If you are part of my 5Y club, you've been in this community 5 plus years. I want you to put your name in it. Well, I just want you to drop a five in the chat. If you've been inside this community for 5 years, Miss King, thank you. Miss Davis Fraser, 5 years or more, 5 plus. You've been a part of this community for 5 years, at least five. My daughter is 7. Wow. So that's where I want to say, this is what I talk about. I've always discussed this back then. I always told people it's about long-term community building, long-term community building. Very, 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 very important. What I want to do is be able to, uh, provide you guys some insight and help you guys out to understand in the long run. Very, very, very important. Long-term community building. Super, 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 super duper important. Daniel, right there, he's in the building. I'm excited next year to come to the West Coast. I'm coming to the West Coast a few times. Obviously, I know here at the end of the year, some people wanted me to come to NYC again. It just didn't really make sense, just to be honest with you all the way, right? It just didn't really make sense. I've done Brooklyn. That's where some people have found me at, right? The event just didn't make sense, right? DC, we will come there. At the time, it just didn't make sense. So we got a nice solid base in the DMV. We are going to come there, right? So saw you on EYL, enjoyed the options class that you saw. I appreciate that. You know what I mean? Time goes on, that's a great platform, do amazing things. And, nothing but love that way to them. But, that's where a good bit of people definitely started to find out who I was, you know what I mean? Even more than what already the work I was putting in. There's a lot of people before that know me. I'm from Clubhouse. A lot of people before that know me directly here in Atlanta and different things that I've been doing. So to me, it's really just I just focus on just continuing to develop each and every single day. Um, I don't make no excuses about it. You got to show up and win. There's gonna be times where you get kicked in your face, you get kicked in your mouth, and you got to battle back from it. I don't think none of us are really immune to it. Uh, I have my own situations where in the past 7, 8 years, there's been a couple of times where I've gotten kicked in the face. It's just the reality, you know. And you got to bounce back from those things. You dust yourself off, you get up, you keep pushing, you keep going. And the glitz and the glamour, I don't really hone in on none of the glitz and the glamour because the glitz and the glamour to me really don't matter. It's about how many people did I help become successful? How many people at the end of this decade can I say, yo, this past decade, this my all decade club? And I could sit here and say, because of the things that I've taught and done, this is how many people and lives that I've helped and impacted in a positive way, been able to change people's lives. And they took the ability to come to me. And now this is what I've been able to do. Not only help myself, but then I've also helped my community and truly been able to help people in the community where I want to give as much as I can because I want to give all I got. Because in order to receive, you got to give. That's just biblical. And I know that's not really what I talk about, but I'm a believer in God. You know, everyone has their different things that they believe in and subscribe to. But I believe that in a higher power. I believe that without that higher power, I wouldn't have any of the talents and the abilities that I have. So I have to do this work because it is in honor of that higher power. And if I deviate from that, there's going to be consequences. So that's how I view it. I must. This is not a thing. I must, I can, and I will, and it has to be done. So that's just really always been my MO. Come from humble beginnings, and I've worked my way. Everything that I've worked for, I've worked consistently, consistently, consistently. I stayed at it. And it's one thing, you never should be satisfied. And I don't think anybody on this call is satisfied right now. You can still see the hunger in my face, and I see the hunger even though we don't have cameras on. But I hear the hunger when I speak to you guys. I hear the hunger in you guys' voice. You guys are hungry for success, hungry, ready to do whatever it takes to get yourself there, ready to say, yo, boss, we gonna hold back for a minute. We got to put in some work. We got to hop on a Zoom. So there's a lot of people, I won't say some, there's a lot of people in here that you guys are battling different things. You guys are making your way to classes. I want to commend you right now because you guys are pulling the trigger. You guys are pulling the trigger on what the trigger needs to be pulled on. In 2026, mark my words, whether the market drops first and give an opportunity to buy, or whether this market just goes and just keeps booming, you are going to be in the right position to make the right moves. And I'm putting that right here, documenting this right now as we get ready to roll into some things, because why? It's important. How you prepare is how you are going to play. There's no way that I'll step into 2026 with no preparation and think I'm going to be successful, with no price targets, with no fundamental analysis research, with no taking a look. It is super important that we prepare. That's my mindset, because 2026 got to be the best year yet. It's all we got. There's some people, right? Like good brother Daniel said, there's some people that didn't wake up today. There's some people that didn't wake up yesterday. So you got breath within your body right now. You got breath within your body. No excuses, man. No excuses. No excuses. Breath within our body. So we're going to dust ourselves off if we need to, where there's going to be times, that's just the reality. There's going to be times you need to dust yourself off a bit, where you're going to make a mistake. But don't hang your head down on a mistake. That's just my opinion, right? And this is, to me, I would say this is just a fact, right? I'll say this is a fact. Don't hang your head down when there's a mistake that happened. You know, that's when the morale gets killed. And I'll use this comparison. Sorry to any Philadelphia Eagles fans right now, but the reality is that AJ Brown killed the momentum of the team. You don't want to be killing the momentum of the team. And this is the reality, where when things don't go right, we start pointing the finger too much. Boom, it's this person's fault, this person's fault, this person's fault. I'm not getting the ball enough. You know, that's not how teams win championships. Teams win championships by having camaraderie. We know mistakes is going to happen. That's just the reality. We seen a mistake last night, right? When we watched the Seattle Seahawks game. Who won the game last night? The Seattle Seahawks. But I watched Cooper Kupp. He fumbled the ball. He fumbled the ball with 40 seconds left in the second quarter, first half. That cost him 3 points. Sam Darnold, I watched him almost throw a pick six, but it went to the 1 yard line. But I watched the team rally. It was down against Matt Stafford, who's supposed to be the MVP, Puka Nakua, which was going all crazy all over him. And I watched Sam Darnold. I watched the team. I watched Cooper Kupp. I watched Jackson Smith and Jigba. I watched them gather around. They didn't say, Sam, that's on you. They didn't say, Cooper, it's on you. No, they went over to that sideline. They hopped on them Surface Pros, and they seen what they was missing. Sam seen the read that he was missing. He dusted himself back up. He knew he made two mistakes throwing the ball, no places he had no business he should, but he rallied back. Cooper Kupp dropped the ball right on the field, rallied back. Matt Stafford was feeling good, shaking himself out there. He thought he had the game won. He did what the Seattle Seahawks do over there, what Mike Macdonald, a well-coached team. This is exactly what he did. He went over, he put the headset on, listened in, and said, boom, let's dial in. So the piece that I want to say is it's super important that when things are going to happen within the game, let's not point fingers. Boom. And that goes for let's not point fingers. Let's all be and say, you know what can we all do better? What did we miss? You know what I'm saying? That's to me the mentality to have. What did we miss? Okay, we missed that here. You know what I'm saying? ABGO. What did I say the other day? I said, yo, team, that's on me. Right? That's on me. QB1, step up, yo, team, that's on me. ABGO. Entry was entry obviously ended up being bad. In the beginning, we thought that ABGO would end up being able to hold and bounce somewhere. Obviously, the position is not over. And we got a top company with growing earnings, requisite earnings. So could we take ownership and accountability of it? Yes. The same way I did with Meta Platforms, right? Meta Platforms came down and drew down to about 650, 640 area, 660 area. We caught a little short-term trade to the upside, but then we re-entered again on Meta. And then Meta obviously caught some of that end of November selling business that we thought, okay, right there. We caught METU at a pretty much the perfect price for now, at 25 bucks. But it's like, these are the little things where for me, I'm always going to take accountability if something was right. It's just what it is, right? When we highlighted earnings, right? Earnings is a significant risk. You should only play earnings if you understand the risk that's associated with it. So I will take accountability for anything that does miss. That's the one thing about me. I will take accountability for it and say, yo, team, that's on me. It has to be, though, a two-way street at the same time. Remixing things that may have been discussed and just going off and just completely doing something outside of the norm. You get what I'm saying? You got to take some accountability on that. Because if we highlighted something and you did something completely to the opposite, and on us here. You know what I mean? We have to look at that part of it too, right? So when you go off script and you do something completely off script, you have to take some accountability for that. So I will take accountability for any and every single thing. I'll take accountability for it. No one's going to bat 100%. And that's the difference between me and these fake guys that's online selling a lot of BS. I'm just going to call it what it is. A lot of people been talking the talk, but not really walking the walk. It's a lot of fake and fictitious stuff that's all over this space. And this is just the facts. Because when the market gets rocked, I see people go ghost and disappear. When the market gets rocked with me around, I don't do no disappearing. Stand firm, ready, put my feet to the fire. Let's go. You know what I mean? That's just what it is. It's not my fault the market come down. It's not your fault the market come down. It's not anybody's fault the market is coming down because market makers are selling and we're seeing profits being taken. But when we talk about being in position, some of the things that we're discussing right now are not going to happen right now. But that's the reality. We're preparing. If the worst was to happen, you had a plan. Because the worst thing is for February and March of this year to repeat itself, or 2022 and early 2023 to repeat themselves, right? Or 2018, this 3-month run to repeat themselves. Super, super, super duper important. If those things repeated themselves and you don't have no game plan, no set and no action, you're gonna be gassed out real quick. So some people might be saying to me, when I posted the semiconductor bearish thing, some people said, oh, he crazy, quote unquote. This is what someone said about me on a separate Zoom, right? They call me old boy. They said, old boy said the semiconductors could pull back 20 to 35%. Last week, if I'm not mistaken, I pulled up a 5-day chart and the AVGO was down 21%. Just saying. Just saying. I'm the same one who called AMD at $60, $80. Proofs in the pudding here. I'm the same one that's telling people AMD is the one that I have the least confidence in out of the top 5 to 6 semiconductor names. These just the facts. I'm the same person that said MU at $60, $70, $80 would be the steal that you could get. It was the sleeper of the semiconductor industry. MU's at $240, $250 now. People ain't sleeping on it no more. These are just the facts. And this is why I say we have to always understand that there's going to be things that could come into the marketplace that could be disruptions. You got the biggest in the world as the president of the United States, and he sits in the White House. You don't think that he going to disrupt something again? You think that February and March was the last time Donald Trump, while he in office, will ever be a disruptor? Okay. We know him long enough, right? Donald Trump been around as long as my grandfather was around. So Donald Trump been around here a long time, and he got a history of being a disruptor. Whether you like him or not, or whatever, that doesn't really matter. But his tendencies is he is a disruptor. He disrupts things. Now, the question is his disruptions bring what? They bring opportunities. So if DT nut up which he's due for a nut up, it bring an opportunity. Just a reality. So if Donald Trump does what he always does, it brings you an opportunity, right? He go over there talking to China a bit too crazy. He put his nose in business that I'm not gonna say don't pertain to him, because when you're the United States president, everything pertains to you, respectfully. But you put your nose where you start just doing a little bit too much, where your nose is long, but you start doing a bit too much. Cause some problems. Unemployment levels for Black and brown people is at 9% right now. Do we think that number going to be higher or lower next year? I'm just asking. Black and brown unemployment, higher or lower next year? Your thoughts? Higher or lower next year? Black and brown unemployment, higher, higher. Unemployment period, 5.2 to 5.5%. That was documented back in October for the birthday special class, right? Double digits, correct. So what we think that lead to? Just saying. When these companies continue to keep calling, now let's talk about the private company bubbles. You got some companies that's sitting at over $1 trillion and they in the private space. And what you think they're gonna come do when Open AI rears its tail and brings its behind to the market? You think you're gonna buy or you want to repeat a CoreWeave Circle Internet Group, which we told you beforehand. Both those tickers, not bad companies, but listen, no business being a $200 company. Valuations matter. One thing we keep speaking on is valuations. We talk about valuations all the time. So 20, you better justify it. Listen, CrowdStrike, you $500 now. Whether you validate that, whether you validate those earnings, going to decide whether your behind is at 275 to 300, or if you're going to be pushing 750. That's just the facts. CrowdStrike been talking all this stuff. We got these numbers. We going to run it. Well, listen, you better show up and you better deliver with it. Otherwise, you're going to be floating around 275 to 300. Now, you know what you should be doing at 275 to 300, right? We should be looking to buy because we want forward price businesses at discounts. We don't want to overpay for any business that's a forward price. Your OKLOs, forget about them. Night, night. It's Steph Curry time. It's going to be put to bed and get tucked in real nice, Daniel. OKLO is going to go for a nice slumber real quick, real soon. Hims and hers, night, night, $20 is going to be coming down. Take these notes, and I got some things to back some of this stuff up. And I'm just talking to you guys heavy now because I want people to understand there's always the future. Hear a lot about it. I've heard a lot about it for the past 6, 7 years. I've heard a lot about what the future was to come, the future, the future. Now, there's been a few things that were the future that actually panned out. And I'll give flowers to a couple of companies that delivered on becoming the future. One company I'm going to give their flowers to is Shopify. Shopify was the future in 2018. Respectfully, they delivered here going into 2026. So that's an 8-year difference. Shopify has become and stepped into the role that they were supposed to be. Are they the perfect price business? No, but they stepped to and they've delivered on what they were supposed to be, which is why in 2022, 2023, when they dropped down to 25 to 20 bucks, this is why they're sitting at the price they're sitting at now. That's a 6, 7, almost 8xer, right, at its peak point. This is how you got to be. When your charts are not in front of you, you should know this information. I'm looking at the Zoom right now. This iPad is black, but I know this information. I know what companies are profitable, what companies are not. I know how many outstanding shares certain companies have and what other outstanding shares companies don't have. I know that Netflix just did a 10-to-1 split. So guess what? Now that outstanding share supply has 10x. So now the stock ain't gonna move the same. But I can tell you at 55 to 65 bucks, that's your perfect entry price. Your bread better be up. I can tell you here at 80, 90 bucks, it's a good crack, a good shot, but it's not a great one. But you should know what price you're paying. Having the education and know where you're buying these instruments at is very important. Don't just take stock picks from guys who say, yo, this stock will be here and blah, 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 with no fundamental backing or saying they're in rooms they're not in. Because listen, they're not there, respectfully. I'm not in the companies that I cover. I'm not in none of their rooms. Will not claim to be, but I know how to evaluate them from outside in. Now, do I have some insight in certain places? For sure. That's just the reality of me being in this business. But am I the person to say that, am I going to gas you guys up to think that I know more than what I know? No, I'm not going to tell you I'm in these rooms and I'm in meetings and I'm all of that. You ain't in no damn meetings. And I'm sorry, this is just what I got to say. Because some people have been falling victim to that for a long time, where you're listening to people that's telling you they in meetings and they in rooms they ain't in. These are just the facts, right? Kathy Woods needs her respect because she bounced back. Now, did she make all the best decisions? No. Do we all make all the best decisions? No. But Kathy Woods had resilience. And so she forever has my respect because Kathy Woods delivered on what she said she was going to deliver on. That ETF outperformed the SPY and the QQQ this year. The question is, will they do it next year? I'll tell you, as a Kathy Woods, someone who respects her, I don't think so because it's incredibly hard to do so. Do I think it's impossible? No, but it's hard. I don't see the art going to no to 120, 130 next year. Just my thoughts. And the only way I'll say this that the art goes to 120 to 130 has to be what? The biggest ticker there, 12% asset allocation. Pull it up. What's the 12% asset allocation name in there? Tesla. It's got to ride. It's just the facts. So if Tesla can deliver on going to $600-700 a share, that's the only way the ARK is going to go to 110, 120. Otherwise, it ain't happening. It's not happening. So I got to give my respect and my flowers to Kathy Woods because she's had an incredible year. The question is now, will next year be the year where the tickers, right? It is super, 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 super duper important. Will next year be the year that these tickers that ran, quantum, 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 that's the future? And I'm just going to say this, quantum is probably going to get smoked on, homie. So when it comes to quantum, you best be careful with it because buying at these prices would be silly. Buying when there's real pain, excruciating pain, that's when you want to buy these things. Those are just my thoughts. So the future tends to never really become the future, more than likely sometimes. NIO, XPEV, Lucid Motors, future, 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 future. Next Tesla, Rivian, no disrespect. But there was people that was pumping Rivian the day it IPO'd and told people to buy Rivian because Amazon had their money in it. Listen, none of us is Amazon, homie. So none of us got Amazon money. We don't got money to put over there in Rivian just to go try it out. You feel me? We ain't got that. So you don't buy new IPOs when they first come in. You never buy new IPOs when they first come in. Uber and Lyft. Hell, Lyft is lower. It was one point where Lyft cost more than Uber. Now that's completely reversed. You never buy new IPOs day one. You never do it. Could you trade them? For sure. But you never buy them. And day one, you can't trade them because these are just the facts. It takes 5 days to be publicly traded before options start getting written. So you can't even trade an option on a stock until after the 6th day. It's just the facts. The piece of what I want to say is it comes down to you have to have some discipline. Don't chase none of these high growth tickers. Don't chase these because they always going to come back down to earth, especially when you don't have a high asset allocation. Now, you also want to talk about Palantir, which is the conglomerate of them all. Palantir has delivered. Now, there were some people that tried to debate with me a few months ago or a couple of weeks ago or whatever it was that said I never recommended Palantir. I just smoked them all the way out. Palantir at 15, 20 bucks, I told many of people to buy, including obviously myself and many of people to buy. And there's people in this community that can attest to that. I said that Palantir would be a great buy at those levels, but understand what you're buying. So Palantir was a incredible buy. But let's not get it confused. Palantir ain't here because of what they've done, what they did yet. They are the most price forward business on the street. One of the most price forward businesses on the street. Seriously. One of the most price forward businesses on the street. So they better 2026. Listen, we ain't got no time for no 20-cent EPS TTM trailing 12 months. We need more than 20 cents, homie. We need $1.50 to $2. That's what we need to really justify this price. we'll dump you straight on your head, and it'd be right back to $100. Anything over 100 on Palantir, you're extremely overpaying. Now you should have the education to know why. That's what I've been trying to definitely say this, right? It is very, 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 very important. People know you got to understand where you're buying a company at. Where you pay for a company is so, 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 so important. A lot of times people are just willing to pay whatever price. Fintech's the future, all of that stuff, cannabis, all of that stuff. It didn't become the future. Cannabis stocks, Tilray running, but in school. I've seen a day where Tilray ran to 300 and got its butt cracked and came back down to 200 within a session, by the way. That was all within the afternoon. Ran to 300, pulled right back down to 200. So listen, Tilray having a little run that they had, that's nothing. That's nothing. That's chump change. And that's people that's playing around with those tickers. That's a playground. That's a kid's playground. That's just what it is. So don't play in the mud unless you're willing to lose it all. That's just the real. Don't play in the mud unless you're willing to lose it all. You can make a bag, but you can also lose it all. So don't play in any mud. That's what I want to stress to you guys. Do not play in any mud right now. Be serious, be disciplined, and let's like I said, let's continue to lock in, man, because it's 9:09. This market is getting ready to open again here today. You got some good companies at some great prices, some approaching great prices. You got some solid companies that are approaching some decent prices. And you got some companies that are just overvalued all the way. So there's some things that we could all across the board look at and do better on. So what I want to stress is let's just lock in more. Lock in more. Stay upright, stay encouraged too. Don't never put your head down. Don't never put your head down. It's 168 people on here. This is what execution looks like. For the majority of people, don't never put your head down. Stay locked in, stay focused. And there will be days where you say, you know what, man, I'm not feeling the best. But get up, because you got breath. You got a shot. That's all you need. You just need one shot. Keep shooting. Keep shooting. Keep shooting. You go, that's why they say it's a shooting slump. I seen a dude in my lifetime put up 63 quarters off 21 dribbles. And you know exactly who I'm talking about, Klay Thompson. One of the best shooters ever, perfect form. He ain't get like that putting his head down. Now, Klay could come out and have a bad game, but guess what? He's going to come out and keep shooting. Keep pulling the trigger. Game 6, Klay, 4-time champion. So that's how I look at it, man. We got to keep shooting. There's no time to hang our heads on our performances that may not be the best. We can learn from some of our worst performances. We all can have that moment. You know what I'm saying? LeBron James is one of the greatest players ever, but game 6, you know what I'm saying, against the Dallas Mavericks, he didn't show up. Does that mean he's not a great? No. Does that mean he's not better than Jordan? Probably so, because Jordan's my GOAT. Even though I never seen Jordan play a day in my life. But Jordan's my GOAT. Because a dude that ran off 3, had some personal issues and problems, came back and ran 3 more. He's my GOAT. Watch all the tape. You couldn't tell different. Blue game. Father died. Come in and show up. Just what it is. Jordan's my GOAT. You win 6, you go 6-0 in the championship round. You win 3, you take 2 off, and Hakeem Olajuwon, sorry, you got 2, because Jordan was out the league, my brother. But you got your 2. The Sheriff came back into town and ran 3 more. And he had a Scotty with him, which was one of the best guys ever that you want to have on your team. You had a Rodman that was riding with you. So the piece that I want to say is it's about teamwork, and it's also about us being accountable. Let's continue to keep things pressing forward and keep winning. Keep winning. So excited for you guys to be here today. And let's get into this thing. Y'all get y'all notebooks ready. We are recording. So let's go ahead and lock this thing in. Let's talk. All right, let me go ahead and share my screen. And let's get this thing rolling. Drop some fires in the chat if you are ready. If you guys are ready and fired up, talk to me today. This is the day to talk to me, man. This is the day to talk to me. Talk to me. We got 164 people. Don't be quiet on this Zoom today. I know some people is working, but let's not be quiet. I would love to hear some people's voice. Like I said, I only hear Javon, Loso, I only hear a few people's voice a lot of times. Let me hear your voice as well too. Let's fire this thing up. Let's get loud. You know what I'm saying? Let's stay focused and let's keep pushing. Keep pushing, guys. Continue to keep pushing. I got nothing. I got nothing but love for everybody here. Let's keep pushing. So things that I want to go over is just again alerts, right? When anytime you're waking up, because I got a really great question last night. When it comes down to it, you want to make sure two things that you are going ahead and doing. It is very, very, very important for you to have your alerts actually set. Your alerts need to always be set, right? So you have to have alerts from First Squawk, Walter Bloomberg, Unusual Whales, Earnings Whisper. I would say choose one to have it always, right? Walter Bloomberg would be your go-to. So I want to make sure that people are staying abreast to the news and the information that's happening and getting updated pretty much in real time, right? So I do think that's, once again, one of my most important things that I want to stress to people. Just making sure you are aware. That is going to help you do things within inside your capacity. Staying up to date, once again, earnings updates. Now, it's not earnings season right now. So earnings season is not really in effect at all, right? So we're not really here earnings season wise. It's outside of just maybe a few different tickers that are kind of reporting here in and out. So I do want you guys to look at a couple of these names, right? When it does come to you following your tickers on the side, you have your recently viewed, but then you also have your developed your watch list. So these are all things that you should have, right? And you should go ahead and have your watch list actually developed, right? Just the reality. You got Ethereum. You know, I always keep my eyes here. I like to use a lot of times my iPad to actually keep track of my tickers and my cellular devices as far as making sure that I have my watch list actually logged in there. So desktop wise, this could be your setup. And make sure that you, of course, you have your requisite trading view accounts set up for yourself here with levels actually clearly defined. So hence notice today, and this is where we've seen AVGO so far bouncing at. You know, price has not really gotten below 325. This is the October and September lows. So utilizing your tools and your resources, your trading view, all right? So inside my community, you guys have a ton of access to be able to come here and just go right here to the Zoom Mentee technical recordings. Underneath information and resources, you have 3 straight recording tabs. Now I can see everyone who's watching the Zooms. We're not going to do this now, but we'll do this before the end of the year, where I will highlight who is the top watcher of all Zooms. I'm going to announce that person. Some people probably already know who that person is, but I'll probably do a top 5 so I can see who's watching the Zooms. Just know that. Also have these Zoom recordings here. All of the information is right here. If you missing a class, you got to come back in through here and also check things out. So it is on your responsibility to keep up even when classes are missed. Weekly watch list, you guys know that that's a class I've ran for forever. That class started in my dorm room in 2018 with no Zooms. So this is a class that I've done for 8 years, weekly watch list, before Zoom was ever even had and held. So that is going to be every Sunday, your weekly watch list, or Saturday, but more likely than not Sunday. You are going to get that class. That recording is going to come in. Every class is going to be recorded. Now, if you know you're missing things, right? Obviously, our classes stop here at December 16th because all the classes this week are going here. Beginner A to Z videos, right? You see December 14th and 15th, and all of our classes for right now are going to go here, December 18th to the 21st. So you got your first 2. If you missed it, come here. The birthday special classes, all of those are here. That's been here since October 5th with the same PDFs predicting the things that are playing out right now. So the information is right there in front of you. Go grab it, though. You got to go grab it. I cannot stress that enough. You got to go grab it. You're scheduling your time. Your schedule will be updated once we come back from the holidays. We won't have any classes next week. These are our final classes. After the holiday, this new schedule obviously will be published. So next week, be lookout for the new schedule. So everything that you need is right then and there. The 2025 stock options playbook, that will be turned into 2026, and that will be dropped when we come back from Christmas. So the 2026 stock options playbook will be dropped. 11 out of the 15 tickers we had on the 2025 stock options playbook hit. So no, did everyone hit? But no, 11 out of the 15 did. That's a pretty good percentage, respectfully. So when you take a look here, you also have career opportunities on LinkedIn. You can go ahead and tap in if you know you're trying to tap in and do some one-on-one work with TR. She can help do your resume. She can help you prep for interview prep for my people that's, obviously in a transition of jobs. We have TR right here. She gonna help you one-on-one. She used to work directly for LinkedIn, so she knows exactly what people are looking for, what these employers and what these recruiters are looking for. So if you know you need her consultation, she got that one-on-one onboarding intake. This is direct. She gonna work with you. She gonna set you up right, and she gonna help you clean up any things that you need. So you got that right here. If you know you're in between careers right now, you're looking to step yourself up to make some more money because you make some more money now. You put some more money into this market. We got you set up here. We've never been the community to ever tell anybody to quit and leave their jobs. We may have told you that you probably got to figure out how you're gonna get on some meetings. We know we've talked about the bathroom story, but I've never been a person to tell anybody that you got to quit your job. Never told anybody that. Never. So you got the resources right here. If you know you need this and you want to put this to use, I would definitely say if 2026, as we know, around January is the time offices open back up, they're going to be looking to hire. You know what I'm saying? There's many people in here that I know that they're probably in a new role in 20. I'm just speaking this life over people, right? There's going to be somebody in here that get a $50,000 salary increase, get $100,000 salary increase in 2026. And they're going to take that money, put that in the market, and they're going to turn that thing up 2 or 3x it. I'm just talking that real this morning. We have to. It's important to empower because the words we speak is a lot of times the results we're going to get. These are just the facts. So if you're not speaking life over yourself, you're not going to get the results you're looking for as well, too. So if that's requisite for yourself, you know where to tap in. Now, the books, we had the test here from December 17th. I will finish and go over the test. Many of people already have submitted the test. So what you can do is you could just go ahead, click that test. This is a good test for you guys to go ahead and take. Go ahead and look at this. So look at the test. And it's a good bit of a lot of the things that we have covered, right? So I think it is very, very important for you to take this test so I can be able to assess and see exactly where you're at, especially going into the close of the year. So that's important. If you haven't done that already, you got some time, just do it over the next couple of days, right? So you now have some foundation in places for you to actually know where you're going to go get the information, where you can come in. The Zoom call, guys, right here every time. Same spot every time. LE thoughts and breakdowns. And then also, because I know people are talking in there, and it be in the side convos. So you just come and click on this link when it's time for class, and you just come into class. It's easy. You come in. So you know it's in two places. If it's not here in the channel that I talk to, boom, this is me only. So the Zoom link, ain't nobody else talking here. Right here. My breakdowns, we got somebody who was right here. This is my name on Discord. I'll address some things in a second. You got some foolish people that's playing around. So I've done a hard search, and I think I found the culprit. I won't name the culprit because I don't want to give it away. But I figured out who was playing around, who was trying to do something to me. So the piece that I want to say is this. The information is right there, readily available. Let's not execute off of it, and then we come back and we say it's right there for us. So it's 9:22. We got 8 minutes until the market opens. Let's make sure we execute off that information. Am I clear with everybody? Does everybody know where to go find the information? For those that are within my community, everyone is clear where to find the information. I'm about to get myself some water in a second. Voice is about to go out. But I appreciate you guys. All right. So super, can you confirm Black Wall Street Originals at gmail.com? Wall Street Originals at gmail.com. That is where it's at. Yep, that's where you can send it to. So do that on your own leisure within the next 48 hours. Yes, ma'am. Right. No problem. All right, we're gonna keep this party rolling. Friday. All right. So you guys have that. You got your analyst upgrades, downgrades. You got your US economic calendar. So you can stay up to date and refreshed. Very, very, very important for you to do so. And then you always got your trading view. That's what I always call this is like your roadmap. You can't really go anywhere unless you have your roadmap. You got to have your roadmap with design requisite levels to see where buyers and sellers are actually at. Your charts are your roadmap. So if you notice, really on AVGO since September, we've really been within the same spot. We've gotten to the bottom of the, we had a rally here in the end of November, but we've really been within the same spot. Nothing really too much has changed with this, with NVIDIA. And then also as well, we could say the same thing. Nothing has realistically changed here as well with AVGO. So we're within the same spot. Nothing has changed. We are within the same spot. So I want to stress this to people who are listening to me. Let's continue to, like I said, push ourselves forward, use our resources, and let's lock in. Let's lock in, ladies and gentlemen. So market is getting ready and set to open up. Let me actually go through a few tickers where I want to provide coverage, and you guys can start to take these notes down. It will follow over the next few days. You will be receiving some PDF documents with more of this information, but I want to expound first. So I want to talk about Oracle, and I want to provide some coverage. And I want to do this without any levels requisite on my chart right now. Not to say that they're not good, but I want to talk to you guys from a blank canvas. I want to go through a couple things, and I want to talk about this run from April. So at each ticker, I'm going to have each ticker up, and I'm going to do fundamental and technical analysis on these companies, right? So I want to run through. I want to do some situation plays and setups here on Oracle, right? So back when Oracle was running during the summer, right? And Oracle peaked out, right? As we seen, Oracle ran throughout the summer. And as it ran up, remember, Oracle was just a company that was at $120 here in April. But before then, here in last December, they were $200. So if we think about that, right? Oracle did all that it did within the past 365, and it's technically really within still the same spot, funny enough. So they went down here from 200 to 120, came back up and went almost to basically hitting 350. And then they pulled back down and they're here at $180. They popped in the post market $7, right? Oracle, to me, the places that make sense to really buy, let's look at the business, right? The price to earnings ratio for one. The earnings are expected to increase a bit next year, but this is not a bad price to pay for Oracle. Let's not get it twisted. When Oracle was at 320, 330, all I heard was Oracle's gonna Oracle's gonna go up to the upside, and Oracle's gonna be at 400, 450. I seen pump boys come in and they was pumping, analysts coming in. Now I think Oracle can still go to 400 in the long run for sure. You look at where this business is priced at. Obviously, they're going to be taking over the TikTok operations here in the US. Now, when you take a look at a couple of things, one of the main, I won't say problems per se, but it is an issue, is that Oracle does have $131 billion worth of debt. So you do understand that they do have a large debt load, but they are also not a business that's necessarily strapped for cash. They got about 20 billion in the bank. They got a quarterly earnings growth year over year of 94%. Company took home 15 billion last year, in the last year, trailing 12 months of net income. Earnings before taxes, depreciation, and amortization, your EBITDA was 26 billion. So this is not a company that's strapped for cash. So yes, they have a sizable amount of debt, but they're in no way, shape, or form strapped for any cash. They're not hurting for cash. They make cash. Where this would have been a problem is companies that carry a large debt, but they don't have no cash flow coming in. So that's very, 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 very important. You got a profit margin of 25% and an operating margin of 32%. but also they are returning equity to investors, which is one of the main things from a shareholder perspective of 69%. So Oracle's sharing their piece of the pie with their investors, respectfully. So this is a good quality business. Now, pricing wise, is this a if you were to buy Oracle today, would you be overpaying, underpaying, or fairly paying? I would say that if you bought today, this would still be an overpay. A fair pay would be 120 to 140, but it wouldn't be an extreme overpay. So there's four different categories. You got to underpay, a fair pay, overpay, and an extremely overpay. This is just an overpay, softly. It's not a bad price because it may not ever get down to this 120 right now. I would say the underpay would be anything underneath 100, you would be robbing Oracle. But if you pay anything over 250, they're robbing you, respectfully. So anything underneath 100, I would say you're robbing Oracle. Just like we rob Meta at $90, we rob Mark Zuckerberg because at $90, that was straight robbery. Meta was not dead. We robbed Meta as investors. Being able to buy his company at $90 a share, that was a robbery that investors pulled on Meta, right? Now, when you take a look here at Oracle, just these are just the facts, right? Looking at this business from a price perspective, 120 with 140, you wouldn't leap at night if it went to 80 because you would just buy more and say, okay, I'm just underpaying for it now. If you bought it at 120, 140, you wouldn't lose sleep. And I know the market just opened up. Ding, 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 ding. So you got Oracle here at 188. You would lose sleep at night if you bought Oracle at 188 and it went to 80. You would, because you'd be down significantly. So that's the piece of where I want to say. Now, if you got it at 120, 140, you wouldn't lose sleep. You would understand that you are now able to underpay for the ticker. So my thoughts on Oracle is that, realistically, this is where I now will cut the levels back on. If I'm looking at Oracle, I have to watch it at 178 here because as you can see, these buyers just stepped in. This level been on my chart for those that have been following and listening to me. How many times in the past 4 to 5 weeks have I highlighted the 178 level? How many people have heard me highlight this 178 level? If you heard me highlight 178, put 178 in the chat, right? How many times have I highlighted 178 would be a level? If you've heard me say that, I want you guys to put that in the chat for me. 178. So I think that's when you are able to identify key levels, this is where the liquidity and this is where the buying is going to happen. Why did I predict that? Well, on the way up, the buyers got stalled here October 7th and 14th, 2024. The buyers got stalled here in January and they got brought back down. Sellers took control. And you made a falling wedge pattern. I could see it plain as day. You made a falling wedge pattern here on Oracle and then you broke out of this. What time frame are we on? We're on the weekly time frame. So pay attention to that. Falling wedge. On what time frame? Your macro. What's your macro? So notice I don't have to go to these because I got them favorited. If you don't have your time frames favorited on your trading view by now, you're not serious. You're playing around. You need to have your time frames actually favorited. 5 minutes, 15 minute, 30 minute, 1 hour, 4 hour, daily, weekly, monthly time frame. If you don't have your time frames favorited, you're playing around with this because there's no way that you are going to have a proper roadmap without making sure that you actually have your time frames favorited. So when you're looking here now, this falling wedge pattern, that's what broke us out. And then we had another falling wedge pattern as well right here, which actually broke us out here on the upside, right? And then we ended up rallying there in September. But now we look, this is where I projected that buyers would step back in because this is liquidity level, liquidity zone. So now, let's say we were to pull back down below 178. I think roughly we would easily come back down right here to 163.65, that area, because there's not much room where there's levels here where it's going to just, it will probably easily be able to flush. But you can see these buyers are stepping in by what candlestick right now? You got a hammer that's actually forming. So what this is showing you is there was not enough sellers to take control of this so far this week, right? And obviously today's the last day of the week on Friday. But the buyers immediately stepped in here. So the hammerhead is forming. We may try to go kiss this 192 for a second here, but this is a hammer candle. This is a buyer's reversal type candle. So now when you are actually able to see, right, us get below this 163 and us move below 153, this is where those levels will start to materialize if sellers are able to really take control. Now, where were I saying that, particularly here at $100, why did I put this horizontal line here? Because I see buyers that are going to step right back in here at those levels. Why am I looking as well when I am watching and paying attention here? When I talk about this 92, I have multiple points and touches that I can actually go and create, and I can see here plain as day. The trick is when I can actually see multiple areas and points where price is either rejecting at or either pulling back from. So you also have, what's the makeup of any chart? You got a higher high and higher low, or a lower low, highs and higher lows on the way up, lower lows and lower highs. In that, you can have a trend line break in a sequence. When price breaks underneath this trend line, what ends up happening? Price can create a lower low, lower high, lower low. Now price invalidate that and goes back to making higher highs and higher lows. In that, you also can have a bull flag. So these flag patterns are repeating themselves. Notice the most common things you're going to see: flags, double tops, double bottoms. And you're also going to go ahead and see now flags, double tops. You got a bull flag here and double bottoms, and rising wedges and falling wedges. So now inside of that, what did you have here? You had a major bull flag that was building here on the weekly, because I'm looking at macro levels. So when Oracle cracked and $60 to 115, how much did Oracle go up by? It went from 125 to 200 off of this bull flag pattern breakout. This was back here in 2024. So these patterns repeat themselves. They regurgitate them. That's why we regurgitate the same information over and over again. What I try to do is teach you through repetition more and more and more. So you hear it more. Now you listen and you go, okay, elegance, because it's about the reps. I had someone tell me one time, you're teaching the same information over and over again. And I just looked at them and I said to them, why wouldn't I be teaching you the same? The market does the same thing over and over again. And I'm going to leave out the word that I said to them, but that was an idiotic statement. It just was. The reason why it was an idiotic statement is because the market does what? Down sideways. So if I'm teaching you the strategies of how to actually learn how to manipulate the market in your favor, when those core three principles is going to happen, the market is either going to go up, it's going to go down, or it's going to trade sideways. And if it's trading sideways, you're probably going to want to use some theta positive trades like selling covered calls and cash secured puts. My triple double strategy. I will be teaching a triple double strategy in 2026 consistently. I'm going to let you guys know that up front, because push come to shove, if the companies we want pull back, we need to short them, get some capital, sell cover calls on the equities we do have, and buy more at the prices that make the most sense. So you're right. You're going to hear me discuss lower lows and lower highs and higher lows, because respectfully, that's what the market actually does consistently. And until you realize that, you're not going to understand some of the day-to-day things that are going to go down, because the markets move in those directions. And so when it comes to these equities, you have to be able to decide from a technical and a fundamental perspective, where are you comfortable to pay? What makes the most sense? This is a $5.33 company, right? From an EP perspective, earnings in the past 12 months. ETM means 12 months. This is high level education, ladies and gentlemen, high level. So now let's dive a little bit deeper and go to the analysis tab right here on your Yahoo Finance. Let's see, what has Oracle done this year? They've had a couple beats and a few misses. So they're 2 for 2, even though the misses were slightly by only a cent and also by 2 cents. They just had two misses. So we ask ourselves this question. These are what you have the analyst estimates. So you have your EPS trend and your EPS revision. And now you also can find related tickers here at the bottom. So for the most part, majority of people know a lot of these tickers, right? But this is how you find tickers, especially that you want to add to your watch list. Once you add a ticker to your watch list, now you want to go ahead and add some of the tickers within their sector. Funny enough, what do we see? What company do we see actually here mentioned with Oracle? CoreWeave, which CoreWeave is up here 4% today. So now you would go to CoreWeave if you didn't follow this name, which is up about 10% here now. You would add this name to your watch list and hit follow. I'm just not logged in here on the computer, but I am logged in on my devices, etc. So I'm not logged in here, but you would add this directly here to your devices. Your iPad, your iPhone, especially your phone is important. You know what my favorite notification is? Favorite notification. One of my favorites is not getting nothing from Instagram, YouTube, nothing. My favorite social media notification is when that price target alert, baby. That's my favorite notification. Don't tell me CoreWeave hit $50 in 2026. I'm gonna get excited. Don't let me see BTC because I got an alert for 74K. Don't let me see Bitcoin hit 74K. I might jump out of my seat. So I'm gonna tell you guys this right now. You guys want to have your alerts set. Utilize your technology. You're going to be busy working, handling your business. You're going to be running around with your kids, your spouse, whoever, right? Just set your alerts. If there was one thing that I could say that would make a great gift, your technology investment, right? If you say, hey, if you don't, for example, for people that may want an Apple Watch, so you work, I'm just giving this example, or a Samsung watch, right? I know we got some Android people in here as well, right? Samsung watch is cold as well. You should be using your technology to say, hey, boom, okay, I just got this alert. Let me go ahead and run this real quick. That's the point we should be at. We should get excited when things like that happen. So the things, invest in your awareness as well too, your trading views, which many people have done. So those are the things to say. Now you add CoreWeave to your watch list. I've already given you the price. What price should people be going ahead and getting CoreWeave at, ladies and gentlemen? What price should your alerts be on? I said it, but what price should your alerts be on? What price should we be looking to get CoreWeave? What price? What's the price? Under 50. Thank you. Thank you. Under 50. Thank you. Correct. $25 to $45. Correct. So we still want this fall 60% before we really would consider dropping something nice and serious. But underneath $50 is worth the shot. You know what you're buying. You see, when you know what you're buying and something pulls back, it's not to say that you're immune to the pain, but you just understand more of what investment you made. A lot of times, once again, people don't understand the DNA. So this is why I want us to learn more. What is the DNA of our investment? Look at Oracle, it just kissed the 192. We just spoke on that, right? So now you have added CoreWeave to your watch list. So boom, you have CoreWeave, which has actually went ahead and been added. So you have the ability to go ahead and add these companies. You got CrowdStrike, CoreWeave, right? You also got Palo Alto Network right here, Path. UiPath, excuse me, Path, ticker Path. So you have some tickers that you're actually able to go ahead and add to, right? So very, 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 very important for you to be able to do. So those are my thoughts here with Oracle, right? And being able to see. So those are, pretty much my price targets on them. Areas where you should be looking to go ahead and buy long term and giving you guys thoughts and synopsis as to why. Ticker Broadcom just hit 335. It's at 337. I had an alert. So just giving some people some updates on that. You do have Nvidia, which is up here to you have Nvidia, which is up here to 179. And the QQQ, hold on a second, just need some education to my people real quick. It just kissed 615. This is the importance of having your alerts, ladies and gentlemen. Have your alerts, please. It just broke this structure. This is beautiful for this to be happening right now, but it needs to go attack 618 and press it. It needs to go press 618 today. We're up $6 and change, 618. Nvidia's pressing. If Nvidia can U-turn, I had these conversations before. Kill zone, what's the kill zone level? Kill zone, what's the kill zone on Nvidia? What's the kill zone on Nvidia? 164. Who was that? Who was that first person? iPhone. I think that's Joe. Shout out to Joe, man. I think, is that Joe? It gotta be Joe. Joe, that's you? That's you? Yep. Let me just say this about Joe. Joe, since you came in here, man, you've been lights out, bro. I just want to give you your flowers. You've been lights out, man. Non-stop. You've been lights out. I want you to change your name when you come on to this Zoom, though, my brother. If we can get you to do that in 2026, please do that. But I know it's you, right? Um, so I want to just give you your flowers. I really want to give you your flowers because you have literally came in the past 3 months. I think you've only been in the community since October, but your energy's infectious, bro. I just want to give you your flowers, man. Like honestly, I want to give you your flowers because the speed that you have and how you've grasped the information and picked it up very fast, that's a testament. And since you've came into the community, you've been one of the top 5 people watching the recordings. So I just want to give you your flowers. You're in that top 5 bracket. And it makes sense because anytime something's asked, it's coming right out of you. Mike Brown, I'll give you your flowers as well. Mike Brown don't miss. So I want to give you your flowers, Mike Brown. Want to give you your flowers. So appreciate you. Always, my guy. So when you are looking at NVIDIA, the kill zone is 164, 100%. So what we mean by the kill zone, if sellers are able to take September 2nd low out, NVIDIA would flush hard down towards this 150. It would have some levels in between, but it would definitely flush towards that 150. In 2026, the best price, in my opinion, that you're going to get on NVIDIA, if obviously these things were to materialize, would be somewhere around 110 to 120. But I don't see NVIDIA going no lower than 110 next year. Right here, that 111.85 level, this is where I believe buyers would step in on NVIDIA, right? Push come to shove, they break, and that's an extreme sell. A soft sell would be 120 to 140. So you could see that quick with a break underneath 164 to be like clockwork. Now, do I think that's happening? The more that we hang out here and we start to break over 190 and 195, I think that we would, push upwards. So those are my thoughts. Those are my thoughts. With the, right here with, those are my thoughts with NVIDIA, right? So those are my core thoughts there. You do have, those are my price targets, right? So 120 to 140 would where you would want to be a buyer on NVIDIA. 120 to 140 is where you would want to be a buyer on NVIDIA. Anything above that would be an overpay, just realistically. Anything above that, you would be overpaying. Doesn't mean you can't trade it, but it just means that anything above that, you would be overpaying. Now, what's the percentage chances that I think that 110 to 130 materializes? I'd probably say 20%. I'm not highly confident that number will materialize, but I'll say a 20% chance So obviously 20% is pretty slim, right? But there's still a chance. 618 needs to go get kissed, and it probably is about to go get kissed. 618.42. So for my QQQ holders, people looking at the QQQ or traders, people looking and trading the QQQ, 618, watch that level. MU is up another $19 today. Absolutely crazy run that they're on. Shout out to MU and the team over there. They've done an amazing job. So shout out to them. All right. So now let's see here. Next tickers we're going to do. Let's go ahead and knock out a couple of these tickers. I want you to take Robinhood. So let me give you my 2026 buy-in price targets, right? So $70 is the 2026 buy-in price. That's your worst case scenario, right? 70 bucks. And if it went to 70, there'd be a shot it could go to 50, but 70 would be your buy-in price. So let's say push come to shove, we break down below $100 again. I would definitely suggest people to start hunting and selling some $70 puts on Hood. What's the chances of it coming to 70? I would say anywhere in between 20 to 30%. I would say there's a 20 to 30% chance. But I'll say this, if it goes to 70, it won't be there long. It will not be at $70 very long. I'm going to tell you that right now. Now, this trend line you see with this rally from the beginning of April, right? The only way we are going to break is as January rolls around, is if we do get and we see that we're trading sideways and then this trend line comes closer. J5 is right there, or Monday J5. Right there, if we're in the same spot, we'll be potentially breaking outside of this trend line. So when I do look at Robinhood at $70 would be the steal price. If you could get it, you can get it. Now, like I said, 20 to 30% chance that can actually happen. Very slim. Very, 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 very slim. Very slim chance and opportunity. So those are my thoughts on Robinhood as far as 2026 price targets wise. Next ticker, we're going to do Alibaba. Uh-oh. You guys ready for this? If you guys ready for Baba, I want you to put Baba in the chat. Alan Savage, last day of school for the year. I've been on Zooms. It's all good, bro. We got those recordings for you, my brother. It's all good. What's going on, Calvin? Greetings, my guy. Baba. Y'all put Baba in the chat. All right. Y'all ready for this target? Y'all ready for this target? Let's go. All right. So what I say with Baba is this. All right. Realistically, Baba, what I want you guys to do is my 2026 buy-in price is $100 to $120. So Baba's sitting right here, like below this trend line right now. This is the level I want to get Baba at. $120 to $100. That range, right? That's where I want you to get ticker BABA at Baba. So I want you to get it at that requisite level. So if you can get it there, it's the area I want you to look for Alibaba Inc. Well, Alibaba Group Holdings, excuse me. So when you're looking there, we sat here and this trend broke out this year. This was a nice breakout. But I would not be buying Alibaba here right now. Let this thing come down. And I think that you can get a flush on it. What would be my percentage chances of Alibaba getting there? I'll say 50%. A 50% sold, you'll get an opportunity to get it there. But you want to be a buyer quick there. So 100 to 120 bucks for ticker Alibaba. That's where you want to buy. Baba is currently a 20 P to E ratio. So this is not a bad price to pay. Understand, with Chinese companies, you want to pay great prices. You don't want to get caught. So those are my thoughts with ticker BABA, Alibaba Inc. That's where you want to be a buyer at. And so I wanted to stress that here for you guys. Now I'm going to give you guys my 2026 breakout player. This is where I would say this. 2025 was a great year, but I'm gonna say this for SoFi, $40 next year. And I'm gonna tell you why. Because even though when you are looking at SoFi, you got a couple things here. A couple of things here. If we can solidly break over 30, I just want to put a level here right now. We solidly actually get over this $30 and hold. I got SoFi going to $35 to $40 next year. So SoFi Technologies. Now let me explain to you where's the price that I want you to get this name at. I want you to get this name here on SoFi. If you can get this and break this through, right? Because you got really a bull flag pattern that's actually building here on SoFi right, from April. So we've just been flagging here this whole time. SoFi Technologies price target of 35 to 40 bucks. The only way we invalidate this is if we break below $24. So that's my thoughts on SoFi Technologies. $35 to $40 price target. SOFI, SoFi, baby. Bull flag on what time frame? The weekly and as well the monthly. So that's your macro time frames. So we can get the cooking. We can get the cooking. SoFi Technologies. Game time, game time, game time. So those are my thoughts on SoFi. Next ticker, I want to bring them up. And that is going to be NVO. You guys know. I've only talked about Novo for the past 6 months repeatedly. And so when I've highlighted and speaking about Novo, very, very, very important for us to discuss healthcare. Now, this is a falling pattern that has been, stretching here to this downside, lower lows and lower highs. The best price is going to be 35 bucks. So you could fall another 13 realistically, right? And what I would say, you're able to see a couple of things here on SoFi Technologies. When I do look, you are one of the main areas that I want people to see is if NVO can actually get to these, can kind of continue to just range bound, it's really good to sell cash secure puts on this company right now. This is a good spot, right? So you're able to go ahead and get some good value within this range. This is a good value proposition. So if you want to buy, now is going to be the time that you should actually step in and buy. You should be buying at these levels, right? These are the requisite levels that you should actually go ahead and be buying. So when I do look at NVO, it makes a ton of sense when I've continued to tell people to accumulate over time. I secure puts. Selling the $40 strikes and the $45 strikes, puts wise, to me makes a ton of sense, right? So $40 to $45 puts, sell those puts to acquire 100 shares of NVO. If that's your game plan. Also, you can buy if you're not in that position, but you want to, you can buy some shares a little bit at a time. Once again, $35, you understand what you're paying for. My target for 2026 on them is going to be $65. So I'm not expecting anything crazy. Like I told you guys, to me, this is a recovery play over the next few years. So I'm not looking for huge. My target is simple, 65 bucks on NVO next year. I'm not expecting anything major, but I do expect at least a recovery a little bit more, especially if the earnings, and they could justify some of the things. So those are my thoughts with this name at this time. So I just wanted to provide these contexts and these notes. So those are my thoughts. Next thing is Uber. Uber. So let me talk to you. Let me talk to you real quick. Uber. I want everybody to set an alert for $55. Right? How far out would I sell the cash secure put? Good question. I think that you can do anywhere in between 1 to 2 months just because of the opportunity that's at play. So 1 to 2 months, you can do less. You can kind of rinse and repeat. but that would be as far as selling out the cash secure put, which is a sell to open order, sell to open. But let me talk about Uber, which Uber is probably one of the most underrated companies on the street right now. Just the facts. When you take a look and you peel back and you look at Uber Technologies, Uber, they're in investment mode right now. I want to speak to that. So I know you guys will see this. Uber faces challenges from regulatory scrutiny and competitive pressures while maintaining bullish analyst sentiment due to its autonomous vehicle initiatives. So I'm going to tell you this right now. Uber is at a really great price now. I don't have a lofty target on Uber for 2026, but I do have an end of the decade target. I want to say this. You want to get Uber in between 50 to 65 bucks. Now, if Uber continues to peel back down, it has some support areas here in $70 range. But Uber could be heading down to $55. I could 55, 56 bucks. I could make a case for that. As far as let's talk about Uber shares long term. When it comes to Uber, that 55 to 65 range, I think is a really good price, really great price, right? Wise. So Uber, once again, was just knocking at 100. We were expecting it to break, but we all knew it didn't have the volume, right? It just did not have the volume to be able to break. So I think it's looking at it, I want Uber to come down more. And I would say that $65 mark would be an ideal entry point. So you're asking for another 13 to the downside. But you know what you're buying. You're buying a business with a $7.77 EPS, right, in the past 12 months. So $7.77 in the past 12 months, EPS wise. This is a good time to consider looking at Uber, right? Going into the new year, a good time to consider it. So I think Uber's in a fair spot. I just got an alert for NVIDIA that it just broke over 180. So NVIDIA is back over 180, guys. Just seen that happen. 183 is the level you got to actually go ahead and break. So those are my thoughts on ticker Uber. All right. So Uber. Put those levels and take those notes down on them so you can be prepared. Set yourself up the right way. So Uber. Any questions on Uber right now? Any questions? Questions. Check this chat. Uber, I wanted to stay low so I can accumulate. And just to give you guys my end of the decade, so EOD, JB, EOD, my end of the decade target on it is 150 to 170. That's my end of the decade target. So I don't have any super lofty expectations. I'm not saying Uber is going to be $300 or $400, but my EOD, my end of the decade target on Uber is 150 to 170 bucks. So if you're getting it at 55, 65, over there, that's a good return, good rate of return on your money over the next 3 to 4 years. So those are my thoughts on Uber here. So I think everyone will be able to think if you guys agree with me on that, do you guys agree with me? I want to get you guys' thoughts as well. How many people like that price target and agree with me based upon where this business is at? How many people see my rationale and where it makes sense? Yep. Yep. Fully agree. Got you. Just want to get you guys' thoughts. Yep. What do you think about a long-term leap on AVGO expire 2027? Let's pull up AVGO. My thoughts on AVGO is this. I think personally, just my personal opinion and thoughts on AVGO, is that Broadcom is going to run back to $1,000 a share. Now, no, I would say that would be end of the decade. I'm not saying that next year, so don't hold me to that. But Broadcom to me is going to go and bust through this $15 mark. And they're going to be going to $500 again. There's no question about that. No question. $1,000 by the end of the decade just depends on what this business can become. So to put this into perspective, what does $1,000 look like end of the decade target? So what does that look like? Because you hear a lot of times people throw out numbers, but what does Broadcom have to do and what would it take? So for one, this number, 4 to 78 cents, it ain't gonna cut it. Broadcom would have to earn about $8 to $9 a year to have the ability to see their business, this stock price go to $1,000. So they would have to earn about $8 to $9 EPS a year. They're currently earning $4.78. So they're earning $4.78 here right now. So I just want you guys to know that $4.78. Now, let me go into the DNA. Let's crack open this book. What's been the journey that Broadcom has been on in the past 6 quarters? Broadcom, I remember personally, my personal experience. Broadcom, when I first started providing coverage on them, was at $100 billion. They're at 1.5 trillion today. Just like when I first provided coverage on Tesla, it was $40 billion. Tesla is over $1 trillion now today. So when I look here I do believe we're going to see on Broadcom a couple of things, right? Because now you have 4.72 billion. So they 10x the amount of outstanding shares. So where now they're a high float. So it is going to take some time. So for them to go to even $600 a share, they would have to double and go to 3 trillion. Now, I think we all know that NVIDIA has definitely the chances of being the $6 and $7 trillion company. First, 6 and 7. What happens after that, we don't know. But there's a large chance that Google as well is going to be a $5 trillion company as well to follow. We're sold there. Apple, we think is more likely to probably stay in between 3 to 4 trillion, just the reality, unless they do something different. We don't believe that Apple will lose a ton of market cap, but I think 3 trillion will be the floor for Apple. And I think that they'll be range bound for some time. And Google will go and just, stay ahead of them. Right. That's the reality, right? That's how I see it playing out. Microsoft still is not out this fight. Microsoft can charge up and power themselves and push themselves to the upside. Then you have AVGO, which is now the number 5 ticker in the S&P 500 and the number 4 company in the NASDAQ, but they're not even over $2 trillion in market cap. So Broadcom, with a forward PE of 33, has a ton of potential, in my opinion, to go and take this thing, take the reins, and be at $500 plus a share within the next 6 to 12 months. I would say I would push it really 12, 18. I'm going to say 12, 18, not 6, 12. It's too short. But I'll say this, 12 to 18 months, I think we had this conversation 18 months from now, Broadcom would be above $500 a share. Those are my thoughts. 18 months from now is June of 27. So 18 months from now, I believe we'll be talking and Broadcom will be $500 a share plus. So those are my thoughts. 18 months from now, we have a conversation about Broadcom. We'll be looking at Broadcom at $500 a share or more. That's just my thoughts. Knowing the things that I know. So what are my top 2 end of the year, end of the EOD stocks or crypto picks for strong growth? Just Bitcoin. Just Bitcoin. Bitcoin. I think it just comes down to Bitcoin. Just comes down to Bitcoin. All the other stuff don't matter. It's fake and fictitious. XRP is trash. Just what it comes down to. XRP is not above its 2017 all-time high. So XRP, could you make money? XRP is a glorified penny stock, respectfully. That's just what it is. The technology and the speed, yeah, you could say that XRP, that's cool. But I've been hearing the same stuff for 8 years. The banks are going to use their technology. You're right. The technology is good, but it's too much of it. This is facts. Bitcoin is a commodity, which is why it moves that way. There's only a certain amount. Bitcoin is the big dog. Ethereum is the pup, and everything else is just minuscule. You're playing in the mud. Solana, I like Solana. I think Solana, you can make some good money, but it's about what price you get it at. So Solana is good. I like it, but it's about what price you get Solana at. So to me, Solana's at 125 bucks. You want to get Solana underneath 60 bucks. So a 50% retracement in SOL, Solana would be attractive, right? Because you can trade these things. Let's not get it twisted. But XRP is garbage. I'm just gonna call it what it is. And people is just pumping to use you as exit liquidity. That's it. Because they bought their XRP at 40 cent or 50 cent, and they need you so you can go ahead and become their exit liquidity. That's just what it is. And I'm just talking to you about things I know. Notice any chart I'm pulling up is already charted. So I'm just speaking here, boom, what I told you, 60 bucks. 60 and below, it'll start to make sense. I talk from knowing. I don't talk from theory talk, and I don't talk from something that I ain't check out first. And if I ain't studied it, I'm not gonna open my mouth. My grandmother taught me this in the beginning. She said, "You ain't got nothing nice to say, or you ain't educated. You shut your mouth." She told me that at 7 years old. I followed that. You know what I'm saying? You got nothing nice to say, you be quiet. Just what it is. At the same time, she wasn't letting me have them frosting flakes. She was like, "You gonna eat these corn flakes, Lawrence. Just what it is. You ain't having that sugar." Gave me corn flakes. My behind was sitting there at 7 years old eating them corn flakes with no sugar. Just what it is. So the piece that I'm gonna say is this: I talk facts. I called my man Mr. Drew Bernard. You guys seen that real early in the year. I knew he was exposed to Solana, and I seen this trend line breaking. So if I knew my man's was in this, I was gonna give him a call, and I did. And I told him to take his money out of there, and he did, and it saved him $500,000. So these just the facts. So it comes down here when it look here, you look underneath 70, 60, 50. Like this is where I would be a buyer at. So when it comes down to as far as cryptos, you buy the big dog because at 125K, all I heard was, well, when is Bitcoin gonna pull back down? Well, now you got to pull back. We're thinking if we can break underneath 80K, we can go kiss 74. My personal opinion is that you never see Bitcoin go below 50K again. That's my personal opinion. Could it? For sure, because there's always a chance. But I don't believe BTC will ever go below 50,000 ever again. That's just my personal opinion. Think you're going to potentially see 66, 58, but I think the Wolves will be out at those levels. I don't see it going below 50. So the pullbacks, always the third year after having, it's just, you asked me the crypto, so I'm just going to do all my crypto stuff now since you asked me and we brought us here. And just know that for anybody that's here, there will be a guide given. So this call is being recorded because I want to make sure that it's recorded. You will be able to play this thing back and you will be given a guide with all of the information. So whenever we're in 2026, all we're going to do is just refer. What did we say beforehand? So now when 2026, that calendar year turns and the good stuff happens or the bad stuff happens, we already was prepared and we had a game plan. So push come to shove, there will be no questions from anyone here. If Bitcoin comes to 58 or 66K, no one will ask, is it a buy? People will just put their bread up what they're able to do at the time. So now when you look at BTC underneath 80K, it will flush to 74 and then 66 and 58. So these are your areas where now you're looking at an asset that people are smarter about. Bitcoin is not a scam anymore to some people. It's a legitimate asset. 10 years ago, Bitcoin was a scam to most people. This is just a fact. Now, we're not saying it was a scam. We're just saying the what people viewed it as was a scam. And that's why when you look back here on BTC and you see what Bitcoin did in 2017, here in April, this was the year after the halving, which took place here in May and April of 2016. But you see the rally started and Bitcoin went here $700, ran to 2000, ran all the way to 20 grand. But look how fast the cavalry left. Went from 20,000 to 3,500, right? Well, 3,000, right? Right here to $3,000. But then this was the dark time during 2018. But this was the third year they're having, right? Because 2016, 2017 was year two. Boom. Now you go into that third year, gave you the best opportunity to buy before the next run. The next run came, price rallied. We ended up doing Bitcoin Havoc again here in 2020. That was in April of 2020. What happened? BTC took off, rallied 2021. Here, 2021. What happened? The pullback, the third year, which is 2022, presented you the best buying opportunity when you got it at 15K. What happened? Best buying opportunity to win. Now, the next halving, that was the lowest price. Now, anticipation, this is where things change. Because in 2022, 2023, the ETF adoption, the formulation, now you're seeing people understand Bitcoin more. So now they're anticipating, they're not even waiting till the next halving that took place here in April of 2024. They're not even waiting to buy. The anticipation of having ended up pushing this thing up from September 2023, pushed it up. Just the anticipation, which caused the what? The public participation. So the public shot this up in 25 to 66, bull flagged, and then popped and rallied. Then we ended up hitting this 125. You remember the beginning of this year and late last year, here in December, in the beginning of this year, it was really November right here in December. I want you guys to type in and go type in Bitcoin hitting. Matter of fact, hold on one second. I'll just do it myself. I ain't even gonna ask you guys to do it. You guys can do it with me, but here we go. Here we go. Bitcoin 250 targets. Here we go. Here we go. There we go. The Bitcoin 250 target, 250 boys. Aim for it by the end of 2024. 250 boys, right? Look at this right here. 200, 250, 250 boys, 250. Look at how many of the 250 boys right there. There we go. You got the 250, 250, 250, 250. This is December 31st. This is from CNBC. Price predictions for 2025. 250, 250, 250, 250, 250 boys. So you had the 250 boys, which was pumping nonstop, ton of 250. And it never materialized because Bitcoin would have became the most valuable asset, one of the most valuable assets in the world. It already is, but it would have upped the rankings a bit too fast. Bitcoin was supposed to hit 250 and only hit half. Respectfully, we could see that here, 125,000. This was where I said, boom, at 125K, now you got a bear flag building here. So unless we're getting above 95K, BTC is going to flush below 80. And now we're about to enter into that third year after halving. The third year after halving always presents the best opportunity. But here's the thing about this. The third year after halving will not provide 15,000. 15,000 is never happening ever again. Ever, ever, ever. There's a 0% chance. And I can stand on that. Right? 0% chance it ever comes back down to 15K ever again. Zero. There's no chance. Like Vince McMahon used to say, no chance in hell. And there's no chance it ever gets to 15 or 16K ever again. 50K, I'm willing to say it won't. But I'm willing to say it won't, but I'm willing, will say this. If it does, I would be surprised. This I'm willing to bet, it will not get below 16 or 15 ever again. I'm willing to I'll bet anything on that. Right. I'll be willing to put house money. It don't go below there. 50. I know how sometimes these markets can move. I'll say it won't, but I know how sometimes the manipulation can happen. There's a slight chance. My opinion, though, is that it won't do it. Right. So now you're looking here to get the asset at 50,000, 60,000. That's your range where you're looking. Here is not a bad price, but just know I believe better is coming. That's just my thoughts. And with better coming, you are going to end up seeing, some, some major break. So yeah, that's my thoughts. So very, 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 very important. So yeah. Mm. Any questions? Questions, questions, questions. Questions, questions, questions. Any questions? Questions, questions, questions. Check the chat. Hold on. Got a couple questions actually here directly here on some people that sent me. So let me pull these up real quick so I can get these. Second. I'm gonna check the chat. Feel free to put your questions in the chat for myself, for myself, so I can get it. Mm. So a lot of people were leveraged with those margin calls, 100%. A lot of people are leveraged with those margin calls for sure. Let me see here. And that's my guy. Him, we're pumping that 250. Bitcoin is a generational wealth builders. This is an important talk. I agree. That's my thoughts on it. Like I had a conversation with Remar yesterday, and I said, yo, 50, 60K to me is gonna be the one, I won't say the last shot, but I mean that may be your last. This may be the last time we're able to get a whole Bitcoin for less than 100K this next cycle. Like because you got to think if the next cycle takes us to 200,000, I don't ever see Bitcoin going below 100K again. So this cycle, this Bitcoin cycle, will be the last time, in my opinion, you're able to get Bitcoin under 100K a coin. Just my perspective and thoughts. But next time, I don't even see it going to 250. I see it going towards 200. So those are my thoughts. I see it going towards $200. Right, so what are my thoughts on Bitcoin long? I mean, not Bitcoin long term, BA long term. So, yep. Not sure if this came up, but which stock in the Magnificent Seven are you most bullish on? Tesla. You did the question didn't come up, but if you ask me what was the stock that I'm bullish the most on in the Magnificent Seven, is Tesla. And the reason why is because Elon Musk is motivated. A motivated Elon is a dangerous Elon in a good way. So I would say that that's the one in the Magnificent Seven that has the most room maybe to run just real outside of maybe AVGO. Because even I don't even think you're gonna get that type of return on Nvidia no more. Nvidia will stabilize and it will consistently just do what it does. But I would say the stock in the Magnificent Seven I'm most bullish on is Tesla because Elon's motivated. This is the guy we needed. Shut your mouth. Just get to damn work, bro. Shut your mouth. Get to work because you behind the eight ball. You should be where Nvidia is at right now. And this stock should be 1,500 and needing to be split right now. But because you've been running your mouth, it's not at 1,500. But best believe that Tesla can run again to $700-800 a share if Elon can stay motivated, not be running his mouth too much, and just focus on business. So those are my thoughts. I'm most bullish on Tesla in the Magnificent Seven. And it's not because the other Mag 7 names aren't going to do well. What's my thoughts on Meta? Meta's going to go over $800 a share. And Elon's on his way to becoming a trillionaire. He got motivation. That package got approved. That was important. That lets you know right there what Elon was going to do, at least in the short term. He's going to get he wants to get his net worth to a trillion. That's his goal. And, so obviously Tesla moving up is the one way that that can happen. As far as Meta, obviously it's sold off towards the back half of the year, like a few other tickers, but this isn't a good demand zone. We're in good demand here right now with Meta. So I think Meta, this was a really healthy pullback. The target still remains the same of Meta to break over $800 to me within I won't say I don't think it'll happen next year. That's just my thoughts. I don't know if Meta breaks $800 next year, but I think if you're looking the next 2 years, Meta will probably be in line for a split. And I would like to see Meta move over 800 for sure. But I think it's going to be some time. It's going to take some time on Meta. I don't think it'll be easy. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. That's my thoughts. Mm-mm-mm-mm-mm-mm-mm-mm. That's my thought. Really talk, most people on IG, Facebook, I see it going over 800. Since we went over Bitcoin, can you explain how to store it securely? Realistically, you want to be able to definitely want to two things that I would say as far as storing. Someone I can speak directly on this. Never trust, never trust anybody outside of yourself to look after your Bitcoins. You can have it stored, and that goes for family too. I'm just gonna say that goes for family. That just go for everyone. Never trust anybody outside of yourself. You get what I'm saying? Yeah, like even people that you think you could trust. You get what I'm saying with Bitcoin. Don't I mean like just that's just my thoughts. I want to say that up front, right? So that's just number one. As far as storing wise, you want to get your ledger or some form of a cold, actual, tangible, physical wallet that you can transfer your Bitcoin on. You want to get it from the right place. You don't want to buy it off market. So if Amazon's selling it or a site is selling it, don't buy it. You buy it directly from the maker, right? Directly from the production, right? Directly from you get it directly from who's producing it. Ledger.com, that's where you get it from. You get it directly from the source. So never buy anything off source, right? So I think that's rule number one. I have never done that. So those are mistakes that I would say. Never leave it to anybody that you feel like you can even trust. I'm just gonna tell you that right now. Don't even allow your family members. Don't leave it to anyone. You get what I'm saying? Don't leave it to anyone outside of your kids. That's my thoughts. Don't leave it to anybody. That's what I'll say. And store it in a place that you know. I wouldn't leave it in a safety deposit box in a bank. Store it in a place that only you know about it. That's just my thoughts. Just my thoughts. You keep that between yourself. You don't need to keep it on Robinhood nor Coinbase. No. Because if those platforms shut down, what's going to happen? Your crypto going to. You need to be in control. If you need to raise some cash, you can just send it back to your Robinhood or your Coinbase, and you can just sell and get the cash. You need some fiat, you bring it back. But that's what I'll say. You can buy it on. I think Coinbase is fine. Uphold is really efficient. Uphold is efficient. Uphold, but yeah, as soon as you buy it, take it off. You know what I mean? Take it off and put it on your requisite device, and have your device only where you know it needs to be. You get what I'm saying? So take this from someone, you know what I'm saying? And I don't like talking about it, but these just the facts. Takes this from someone who had $500,000 worth of BTC at an average cost of 22K. Taken from them. Y'all see where Bitcoin at now. So you can do the math on it. You get what I'm saying? So that's the biggest loss of my career. Respectfully. That's a $2.5 million loss. So just what I'm gonna say. So, $2.5 million loss. but you don't see me crying about it. This is the first time I ever really, I mean, second time I've really ever mentioned it. I've spoke about it publicly and addressed it, but this is the first time you ever heard me speak about it. So that's why I be saying, like, dust yourself off. Like I've been, trust me, been through way worse. Yeah. You get what I'm saying? Way worse. So those are just really my thoughts. So all I'll say is I just trusted the wrong. That's all I'll say. That's what I'll say. I just trusted the wrong people. So that's that. I really will say. So I'm just sharing that with you guys. So I just trusted the wrong people. So all it comes down to. But yeah, as far as recommended platforms, Coinbase, Uphold, those are, the things that I would say. Coinbase and Uphold are the main things. So, yeah. And keeping it safe. That don't deter me from saying Bitcoin's not the asset you want to get. It's not Bitcoin fault. It's my fault. You know what I mean? So Bitcoin ain't nothing wrong with it. We're gonna grab this thing, 50, 60K. Let that thing come down. It's go time. That's all I'm gonna say. Redemption. You get what I'm saying? So very, 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 very important. Very important. What signals will tell you the trade is longer valid? So I think one thing with BOIL, right? And this is where particularly sometimes you can get overexposed. With BOIL, I think too many people, which we highlighted and spoke about, but BOIL, even with what it was something that I highlighted to people that you should only have allocate a certain amount of money to. BOIL was never your home run hitter. BOIL was something that you were supposed to accumulate a certain amount of shares of. And as they so I think it once again is super, super, super duper important. Right. Very, 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 very important for us right now. That you guys understand that when it comes to BOIL, you know what levels, one, that you got it at, two, take profit wise, and that this instrument is volatile. That's how it was going to go to the upside anyways. So what I'll stress with BOIL is it's not that it's not valid anymore. It's you want to check your exposure and ask yourself, was I overexposed to this? Because you were only to buy a certain amount of shares between August to November, take profit at the levels designed, right? Because some of those levels did hit. Some people took profit in the 44, 50, 63, and we're looking obviously upward, right? So as 50 was approaching, some of those, as those levels were getting hit, you had the decision to say, hey, I'm going to take some, take all, or take none. Once again, it goes back to your risk tolerance piece. So to me, looking at BOIL, I also think that it's not done. I think it's just going through a correction, a real correction right now. But those are just really my thoughts on it, right? So overexposed. BOIL was never the position that I told people to put all of their money into, or to actually even be your first play as well, too. BOIL was the position I told people to accumulate what you could little by little. And as it would run, cool, but don't overexpose because this is a leverage product. Always tell people do not get overexposed to leverage products. Very, very, very important. So, yep, that's what I'll say. But we'll see as it plays out. It's back here at 23 and 24 and $25. We'll see as it plays out. Yep. Mm-mm-mm-mm. Mm-mm-mm-mm. All right. That's that. So we're gonna pretty much wrap up the zone for today. I'm going to post more of my 2026 price targets in the community. I'm going to provide you guys with a PDF guide. So I do want to take some time to just wrap and finish these couple last things up. Appreciate everybody who was on today. Hopefully, you guys, you learned some valuable lessons that was actually able to, take away and pull away from this. So we will meet again tomorrow, 7 to 9 a.m. and Saturday and Sunday, 7 to 9 a.m. So all notes, PowerPoints, everything that I have for you will be provided. Just be in attendance for us on that 7 to 9. I do think it'll be very powerful. 7 in the morning, catch you guys early. So that'd be EST, the Eastern Standard Time. So we will make sure that we got you guys locked in EST time. So lock in with us in the morning, 7 a.m. I know it's holiday weekend coming up, so I know some people throughout the day. So we would just want to make sure that you guys are getting that information. These recordings, if you can't make it, all the recordings will come out Sunday. If they are a little bit late, it's just because it takes some extra time for it to compress. You will get all the recordings and all of the guides. So appreciate you guys very much. And yeah, I'm excited for next year. So I will talk to you guys pretty much there soon. Next year should be a bet. Next year is going to be solid. So we put in a lot of work. Fourth quarter, it was some up and down moments, I think. Up and down moments in the fourth quarter. I would say we done it. We tried to do our best, saying to finish strong. It was just some things that I feel like we all could clean up on. And I think that's just part of the game and the process. So as QB1, I could take some accountability on that there. And yeah, that's just really all I would say. Just taking accountability for it and just looking to move on and get back right. I think we're in a great position. I think there's a lot of things to learn from some of the stuff we put on tape. So that's what I would say. So, quick question. hmm I do agree with that. We probably need a deep freeze, Marco, to your question that's being asked. So, depending on how cold this winter gets, is going to determine as well how fast boil runs. So, Marco is 100% correct. Yes, sir. Yep. I appreciate you guys very much. Thank y'all for your time. And we'll just go ahead and wrap up for this week, man. Appreciate you guys for wrapping up and everybody. Thank y'all. And I'll speak with you guys soon. Much love. Peace.